guys, we're back, and this week we're going to be talking about the tools that scientists use. What tools do they use to get their information and what they're wanting to learn about? So we're going to start out. Our first tool we're going to be talking about is the ruler or the measuring tape. And remember, we touched on that a little bit. I showed you how to, this is the measuring tape. This is the ruler, and I showed you that it is in inches and centimeters. And remember, we use centimeters when we're measuring instead of inches in science. We use the metric system. So remember, I put the pencil down, and then I put the ruler by the pencil, and we figured out it was like 18 centimeters. Okay. Now, while I'm doing this, I want you to think, next week, today, after I get through with this lesson, talking to you and showing you these things, we're going to give you about 4 things that we want you to do at home. You're going to be like a scientist at home, and you might be using some of these tools or something similar at home. So as I do this, pay attention. This is the balance scale. So scales, scientists use different kinds. This is a balance scale. And remember, when we did this, we put the rock on one side and the cotton ball in the other, and we figured out that, hey, the rock weighed more than the cotton ball. But if you don't have a scale at home, remember what else I showed you? You can do this. Get 2 things, 2 objects, hold it in your hand, and you can tell the difference. You can figure out which is heavier and which is lighter. So that's a way for you to weigh at home, weigh your objects at home. Now, if I want to look very closely at something, I'm going to use what we call a hand lens. Now, some people call it a magnifying glass, but we like for you to call it a hand lens. And the way you use the hand lens, scientists use it very carefully. You hold it by the handle here. You never touch the glass. And you hold your object. You can do this 2 ways. You can look at it and move the object back and forth. I think you can see that. Okay, and I'm looking at this very closely. And this happens to be a piece of granite. And I can see 3 different colors in here when I use my magnifying glass, my hand lens to figure this out. Okay, next, this is a 2nd grade version of a microscope. Scientists, when they want to look at something that's very, very, very tiny, they can't see it with their eye or even using a hand lens, they're going to use what we call a microscope. This is a micro viewer. And hopefully, if we get to come back to school, you'll get to use a micro viewer, maybe, if we can work it out. And you put slides that have already taken, these pictures are from someone used a microscope and they took pictures and they put them on these slides for you. And then you look at them, you put the micro viewer down and you look at them, and you can move it up and down to focus the slide. So that's called a micro viewer. It's another science tool. Remember, I touched on this, the beakers. These are the glasses that scientists use. They have a little spout here to help them pour liquids. They also have little measurement numbers here. And this, for your lesson, you're going to be mixing 2 things together. So this might be something you might want to try. You might want to do colored water and oil. You don't have to have it in a bottle like this. You can put it in any container. But think about, you might want to do this for one of your activities. Then, of course, you already know about your science notebook. This is a tool scientists use. They're science notebooks. They use lab sheets to record their information. Okay, and then we have, this is kind of a safety tool. You know, my lab coat is kind of a safety tool so I don't spill things on my clothes. And these are goggles. These are tools that scientists use to protect their eyes. They'll put them on, and when they're doing something, so that if they're doing something where that something could come up and hit them in the eye, their eyes are protected. So again, these are goggles. A thermometer measures temperature. Okay. And now, I didn't show you this at during our first lesson, but I'm going to share it with you now. These are what we call models. Scientists have models to share information with people. And you know, models can either be bigger than the real thing or smaller than the real thing. But I think if you look at this model, this is the model of our ear. And I think you can tell this is a larger version of our ear. And this has all the ear canal, and it shows it has all the different parts, the 3 tiny bones, the eardrum. And when we study sound, we're going to be talking about our ear, okay, how we hear. And then I have another model. I know some of you are losing some teeth right now. And this is the model of your one of your molars in the back of your mouth. And we know this model is bigger than a real tooth. Okay, and so now we're looking at the inside of your tooth. You have the enamel, which is the white hard part. This is the hardest substance in your body, by the way. The enamel on your teeth, there's nothing else harder in your body except the enamel on your teeth. Then you have dentin, which is a little bit softer. And then this is the living part of your tooth. This is the pulp. This is where the blood vessels are and the nerves in this little part here. Okay? So you've seen the tools that a scientist uses to get information. And so now it's going to be your turn to read your assignment. And there's going to be 4, I believe it's 4, maybe 5 different things that you are going to do around your house. You're going to find things around your house to do these activities. And then you're going to, there's